Empower People works for disadvantaged women who are victims or potential victims of violence, including domestic violence, honor crimes, killing and trafficking or other type of slavery, and provides them shelter, proper counseling, legal support and other help required. The community work involves creating awareness and conducting livelihood programs.
Good evening everyone, my name is Anjali Bose and today Empower People has organized a webinar on impact of on education during COVID-19. As we know that the pandemic has taken over most of our activities, and education is one of the important thing that we have right now which is at stake. And so we are supposed to be aware of the possible solutions and the challenges that the teachers, the faculties, the staffs, and everyone in the educational field is facing. Thus, today we have our lovely guest. Our first guest is Miss Ayushi Mathur. She's an educationist. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Thank you, Anjali. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today here in this Empower People webinar. Our next very special guest is Miss Drishti Kanojia. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, ma'am. It is a wonderful time, ma'am, and thank you so much, firstly, for joining this webinar today. And you being from the education field, a lot of people who are watching this live video today will get an idea of what are the basic challenges that we as a student, as a citizen, or you as a teacher are facing. Because the complete era, the time that has been spent in this pandemic was online, and there are several other problems that we are facing, especially for the COVID-19. So thank you very much again, ma'am, for giving us your time today. So we'll start with the introduction, ma'am. Ayushi, ma'am, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
So my name is Ayushi and I'm a PhD candidate in Amity University in Department of Sociology, and I'm also teaching there. I'm teaching undergrad students for sociology, and prior to that I've worked in an NGO, right, called Seva Mandir, that's in Udaipur, Rajasthan, and I worked in education on ground in government schools. So yeah, over to you, Drishti.
So hi everybody, hopefully you all know my name by now. So I've been associated with the education industry since the past 7.5 years, like 7.5 years. And apart from that, I am currently pursuing my master's also from IGNOU, and I am into the dissertation department associated with the School of Education. So over to you, Anjali.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Those were lovely introductions. Our viewers are, they know our panelists well now. So we'll move further with the discussion. And the very important topic that is being discussed now are the examination. The 12th standards or the boards. There's a big discussion on the examination part. And I believe that a lot of students are happy about it, and a lot of students are pretty sad about it, because they wanted to have the last time that they could meet their friends and get the entire environment of sitting and doing the boards. And there was this update now that the 12th boards has been cancelled. So ma'am, what are your views that this entire decision of cancelling the boards, are they going to affect the future or the way the student develops? Is it going to affect their personal development? Ayushi ma'am, let's hear from you.
So again, this is a personal feeling, right? So when I was in school, we were told that we are not going to give 10th boards, right? And by the time I came in 10th, we had to give boards. And then when I was in 10th, I heard the same thing about the 12th boards, but I still gave it. So I think it's going to be a new, it is a new path. Definitely, it's a new direction. But I think it might just benefit the kids. The pressure and everything is not a very good. It's not a very good alternative in this pandemic. So I think it will have a better impact, and the impact of this can possibly be experienced in another 2-3 years. Right now, some of them definitely they worked really hard. They worked throughout the year. So I think the results should be, should be seen in another 1 or 2 years once they get into college and everything.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Very well, explain that why it is important right now the student to focus on their self first. Drishti, ma'am, would you like to add something to what Ayushi ma'am said?
Yes, I would just say that canceling the exams, it might help in building their mental health. But then, if you consider from the perspective of a teacher or from the education point, then I guess exams should be there, because it helps the child to know, to face, like, how to get about it, right? Abhi to they just know they've just sailed through 2021 over. Exams have been cancelled. They might get postponed. They might appear again the next year, maybe after 2 years. But then that thrill of giving examination they have not experienced, right? So
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Talking while we were talking about the complete educational point, ma'am. At this point of time, a lot of students who are in the slum areas or maybe in the rural areas are unable to, have this kind of education. For example, in rural areas, the literacy rate is already very low, and they going physically to the schools, that was also very low. And now at this point with COVID itself, it has dropped more because they are not equipped with the gadgets there. So ma'am, what would you like to say on it? Drishti ma'am, would you like to
see,
enlighten something?
there should be certain strategies that each and every member of the society is equipped with, handling the the internet platform, or the, if we can say, the educational platforms that are built right now to cope up the COVID-19 outbreak. So, talking about the slum areas, there must be some strategies should be built so that they can cater to that, because coming to school physically is not the solution. And at right now, the considering the situation right now, it's not safe as well. So there must be some strategies to be built, or to be given to the students itself, or some access to be given to them, so that they can also access the platforms and the techniques that have come up.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Ayushi ma'am, would you like to add something?
Building on what Drishti said, that she said that there should be some strategies and some strategies, right? So one of the strategies that has been proven, right, is community education, right? So what we need to do is that, because the circumstances is not what we expected it to be, right? And the pandemic has, the primary schools have not opened, and they should not open. What exactly that Drishti said, it's not just worth it, right? So what can be done is that, the idea of education, the idea of education in India is mostly about sticking to the curriculum and sticking to the textbook, right? At least in school. In higher education, it's a little, there is some room to wiggle. But in primary schools, throughout school years, it's more towards the curriculum in the textbook. So firstly, one thing that we need to do is that we need to scrap away from the idea that education is only when the child is, online. The child is learning everywhere, right? So they can learn from the parents as well. So one thing is, in community education, is that the parents need to be educated, with the importance of education. That is one thing that is lagging, in the slum area, that the parents think that, okay, let's, if he, since, most of them, they are not able to afford, and definitely education is not the priority as this time, livelihood is. So they've dropped their made their kids drop out from school, right? And which is, I mean, we are in no position to comment whether it's right or wrong, right? But one thing that they can do is that they can continue uh, things through activity based learning, right? Maybe somebody can intervene, for example, all of us, once things get better, we can intervene and just, make them learn the basics. By basics, I mean, reading and writing and maths and, plus minus addition, the basic things that one will need as they grow up. So this is
Yes,
one thing that we can definitely do.
yes, absolutely, ma'am.
Also, one
Completely.
thing I'd like to
Hmm.
add. Sorry, Anjali, I intervened.
Yes, no, no, absolutely,
Uh,
ma'am.
Last year I was associated, not last year, 2019, I'd like to highlight. I was associated with a project by the Delhi government on education or teaching of English to young learners, which was also a collaboration with the British Council. So we were given the slum areas, like the schools or the kids that were not able to speak English. They had that hesitation. Also, a village education committee was set up, right? So the first day that I went, I just could not see. There were absolutely no students in the class. The reason being that the parents were not aware of why their child is being called in the summer break. Right. So what just Ayushi ma'am just highlighted, that's the example that I'd like to give. That parents were not aware of what the benefits that program had for their children. And the teachers had to personally go to the slums and fetch their children back to the class and bring them to classroom. So that was one point.
And this is
Yes,
before the pandemic. I mean,
Yes.
physical classes were taking place, and this is
Operational.
so exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea of parents, they need to. I mean, they need to be educated. The importance of having an education for their child. Most of them definitely know, but in this time, it just needs to be prioritized. And the idea of going to school or the idea of having online classes. So a few of before the pandemic, when I was before my PhD, when I was working in the rural sector, in the rural areas of Rajasthan, right? A lot of them did not have, they still don't have schools, right? And the pandemic has not affected them in a very mainstream way, like it has maybe some children in Delhi or in Delhi or some other area, right? But still, uh, there are two, three organizations, both, right? Both is doing a very good work on education through activity-based learning. Then there is Seva Mandir. These two I've worked in, I've been associated with, right? So, so something like that can be done, and something like that should be taken up by the citizens, people like us, in their free time, so to make it more accessible and to, yeah, that's it.
yes, ma'am. Absolutely agreed to whatever you said, and I believe that a lot of people who are watching this session, they understood that it is important for the parents to be educated as well, so that the benefits are taken, or the benefits could be given to the children as well, because they need to know why the children need to be educated. Of course, livelihood and health is the first priority in this pandemic, but education is as important as everything else that we are dealing with. And while talking about that, ma'am, a lot of students who a lot of babies, actually, while we were talking about the primary schools, all these kids have never experienced to be in a play school, or sitting in the class and poking his friend or talking to his friend or doing something notorious in the class. They have not experienced that, because since the time they have started studying, they believe that this is the only way of this is school. So how is that going to this pandemic will end someday, and I hope it's soon. And when they start going to school, they would have a big change, right, from one screen to being to actually interact with a lot of kids of their age. So ma'am, don't you believe that being at home right now, it is kind of emotionally and physically and mentally changing the mindset of the children who are in primary sectors? Drishti ma'am, would you like to enlighten on that?
Well, that's a really great question, actually. Not a question, but a good situation. So,
Mm-hmm.
currently, let me just tell you that, see, students nowadays, if you talk about the primary sector, so the students, they might attend the class, but the actual studying is the part of the parent. Okay, the students are sitting, they're watching the virtual, and it's really difficult keeping a primary kid at place. How can you expect a 2 year 3 year old sitting in front of a virtual screen and concentrating on the activity that is going on? It's really impossible, and hats off to the primary sector teachers who actually hold their attention. And I would also highlight that it's a big change, it will be a big change for them. It will also be a positive change. They will be fantasized by the concept of going to school. Actually, they've been talking, the parents have been talking about it at home when they were watching the virtual classroom. So the parents have already educated them so much about going to school. You'll have a big classroom, you'll have good observatory things, and you'll have good gadgets like the puzzle and everything, all the toys, whatever the primary sectors actually have. So, from a virtual classroom to an actual classroom, the realia takes them all over. So, it's going to be a good change, and also within a positive way, right? It might be hassle for for a few days, that the child will crib about not going to school, because initially he has been sitting with his parents, and there he has to leave his parents. So that's a bit of change that he might face. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. Ayushi ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
I totally agree with what she said. Just adding on that, I have 2, 3 nephews and nieces, right, who are right now in primary school, and I just feel so bad for my sisters and brothers. They tell me that we have to wake up at 7:30 because 8 o'clock he or she has to sit in front of the laptop in a school dress, right? So I just feel so bad for the kids. But on the other hand, they have started believing, right? They mentally believe that this is their whole life. They will never have to go to school again. So one of my help's son, he is in second class, right? Class 2. He has made up his mind that this is school. नाउ अब कहीं नहीं जाना है मुझे, बस यही स्कूल है, ये अच्छी कट रही है उसका लाइफ। बैठो यहाँ पे लैपटॉप के सामने या फ़ोन के सामने, और जो भी होता है करो, होमवर्क तो हो ही जाता है। एंड दैट व्हाट दृष्टि सेड, दैट पेरेंट्स हेल्प देम विद द होमवर्क, और चल रहा है लाइफ मस्त एकदम। They do not want to go to school ever again. Some of them, not all of
Actually,
them.
But I'll also highlight that the organization I'm associated with right now. So one of my seniors' son, he's just enrolled. Okay, he's just going. He's a part of 2021 session. So if like in the classroom itself, he's in the primary. So if you're talking about what he has learned, then I guess nothing. The teaching, it's not that the teachers are not putting in efforts. The teachers are facing challenges every day, holding the child's attention. But then how much is the child grasping? A primary kid, expecting him to attend the morning assembly, taking part in the morning assembly, then the next class, then the next class, 5 minutes break, a backus class. I mean, the whole day the child is involved. So if I talk about the realia classroom, like the reality classroom, then it's absolutely a yes for all the toddlers, for all the primary kids, that virtual classroom से तो बहुत अच्छा होता है real classroom. So that's what it is going to be, a fantastic situation for them. They will fantasize about it rather
Yes.
than cribbing.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am.
Definitely.
Yes, completely agree to what you said. While talking about this, ma'am, the struggle is not only for the students but for the teachers
Yes,
as
I was
well. Like
about to say that.
yes,
So
like
it's for
Drishti,
you guys
ma'am.
also, right?
Yes,
It's not
absolutely,
just for
ma'am.
primary, it's for across everybody who's
Everybody.
in
It's
the
a
education
cross.
sector, right? Yes,
Yes,
it's
absolutely,
across.
ma'am.
Does not matter whether you're in nursery, if you're doing masters. Um, you need a reason to go and meet people outside, reason to dress up, meet friends,
Yes,
go out. You know, so
yes,
so that is
absolutely, ma'am.
something that we still have to wait and watch.
So, ma'am, we are, we somewhat know what are the challenges that we as youth or maybe the babies or the primary kids face, but we do not know the hard work and the patience that a teacher has to hold behind these laptops, and the patience they have to keep and deal with the children apart from their day-to-day life because they are at home. And I'm sure everybody has someone to take care of or someone to be with, and it becomes very monotonous and difficult for teachers as well. So if you could share some of your experiences as a teacher, while these classes, so that even the viewers who are watching us right now, they will understand the importance and respect teachers, because of the hard work that all the faculty, staff, or the teachers are doing for us. Ayushi ma'am, we'll start with you.
Um, so yeah, so currently things have definitely become hard, right? Because the first years, the batch that joined last year, we have not met them face to face, right? Everything is happening online over the phone or something. So it's definitely hard not to be able to, put a picture or put a face to the voice. Apart from that, definitely. It's been an experience, right? Initially, it was very frustrating. Last year, when when all the colleges and the universities and schools, right, they shifted. Initially, it was hard, but I think all of us have, are used to it now. We are used to preparing modules, and we are used to preparing. We are used to. Uh, the experience where somebody just accidentally unmutes, right, and they are snoring, so all of that happens, right? It has happened with me in class. I'm sure that Anjali has also, or both of you have also had the same experience. But on the other hand, there are some kids who are extremely interested in the discussion, and if some of them are pushed, they definitely are um, interested and they answer in class. So yeah, so internet connectivity is another, infrastructural issues are different, but if they are present in class, it totally depends upon the personality of the child, and whether they want to learn or not.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. Drishti ma'am, what about your
Yes, so
experience?
let's not shift from the point. The point was it's difficult for the teachers. Yes, it is. I mean, every day, let's just talk about, see, COVID-19 outbreak has proved one thing, that change is inevitable, right? So, if I talk about the teachers had never thought that we'll be utilizing certain techniques or such platforms for educating, right? Secondly, there are teachers who are not so tech savvy. Okay, so for them coming to this platform, teaching, handling children whom who actually are a big challenge, like handling them in classroom and handling them on virtual screen is a big difference. So, like Ayushi ma'am just said, that there might be students who are snoring. There might be students who would just get their friends into your room, and they would just to spoil the whole situation. But then, okay, fine, kids actually do that. But then on the part of the teacher, it breaks the monotony. Also, not just the monotony, it breaks the discipline also. And I would say that we are also watched. We are not alone, we are also watched. There are people, there are our seniors who would just sneak into the room and just to have a look at how the things are going, how the students are grasping, and so on. So talking about teachers, yes, teachers are putting in their 100%, they are putting in their efforts, but by now, after the second lockdown, I guess they are also used to this situation, and they are used to what it was like initially जो जैसा था पहले लॉकडाउन में. After that, second lockdown has given them a bit more confidence of handling students, technically, not technically, but on the screen.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Completely agreed. It was important for the youth to know your side as well as a teacher, because the youth knows about what other emotional or psychological problems that they are facing. But along with us, our faculties, our staffs, our teachers, they are working as hard, and they are trying to make something out of it. The given situation, we cannot go outside and fight with the virus alone. It has to be the society as a whole. And thus it was very important for everyone, or the people who will watch this session afterwards as well. They will get to know that how difficult it has been, or it is a very difficult situation for everybody. So with that, ma'am, there are a lot of questions today. I believe that the viewers are enjoying the session. So we will start with the questions. Can we have the first question, please? The first question is from Mohini Sahu. With the onset of COVID-19, the shift to online classes has taken a toll on the mental health of children. How do we cope with that? Ayushi ma'am, we can start with you.
So it has taken a toll on us also, right? The teachers. But how do you cope with it? I think you exercise, you eat right? These are the first few things that we can do. And apart from that, so what I've started doing is I've watching a lot of Netflix, right? Whenever I get time, I'm watching a lot of Netflix, and I'm also reading, right? So reading helps you calm your mind, right? It just gives you a center, it just gives you a focus. So this is something people can take up. And yeah, talking to friends, being in touch is something also another aspect that one can do.
Absolutely, ma'am. Drishti ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
Yes, I would like to add something to what just Ayushi ma'am just said. Well, Mohini, don't take it as a burden. Right, you know that because of the situation, you are being given virtual classes, but then take it as a positive point that your education is not hampering. What actually is the need of the hour is that you have to keep going with the flow, and to keep you going with the flow, don't let it overburden you. Take it as a challenge that you have to do it. Okay, if you take it positively, I'm sure you will be able to cope up with it.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Mohini, I believe that the answer, you're satisfied and you know what to do next and how to continue with our lives with a lot of motivation and inspiration. Can we
All the
have the
best,
next question,
Mohini.
please? Yes. The next question is from Sukhiram Malik. There are various distractions when a student is studying on a device. This is harming the concentration. How can one improve the same? Drishti ma'am, we can start with you.
Okay, so Sukhiram Malik said that there's a lot of distraction while studying on a device. See, if you have your mind focused, it's about your mind. It's about your how focused are you on things. Obviously, if you're taking it as just as a toll, like if you just want to pass your time, कि हाँ अभी lecture चल रहा है, attend करना है, बस that's it. But if you're taking it as taking some tips out of it, getting something productive out of it, then I'm sure, dear, that you'll be focused. So the point is that your focus, you being focused, is the main point. उसके बाद कोई distraction आपको कुछ भी, चाहे WhatsApp आ जाए, चाहे Instagram पे कोई DM आ जाए, कुछ भी आ जाए, आप खेलोगे नहीं वहाँ से.
Ayushi ma'am, would you like to add something
So
to it?
adding on to what she said, I understand, right, that distraction is something. So if you're doing something, right, even though you're 100% into it, when I'm studying for my PhD, even if I'm 100% into the reading, if something happens on my phone, just for a second, one microsecond, right, I just get distracted, right? It happens with me. So something that I have learned over time, again, it works for me, might or might not work for you, is that keep taking breaks after 50 minutes, 50, right? Or you can probably do it for a longer time or a shorter time, right? I initially started with half an hour. Half an hour, my WhatsApp is off, right? I switch off the internet on my phone. Half an hour, I do whatever I'm doing, and then probably after half an hour, I get up, I take a walk, I switch on my phone, I switch on my phone and do something in 10 minutes, and then I go back again for half an hour. So this is something that has worked for me. right? And if not phone, if you want 100% to concentrate, then do not just keep other things off your phone, internet off and everything off, and then probably just take a round after every 5-10 minutes. So this is something that you can do. I hope it
Thank you.
helps.
Yes, I hope that Sukhiram Malik may have got the answer that he's searching for. Let's move to the next question, please. Devanshi Goswami's question is: the uncertainty around competitive exams and the delays in the same are affecting the aspirants and students mentally. What is your opinion on that? We can start with Ayushi, ma'am.
um, so your self-worth, right? This is a very strong statement, but your self-worth should not be about exams, right? The one thing that the pandemic has taught us in the past year, that life is bigger than this, right? You should, right now it's okay if something is not going like you planned, right? All of us had plans, but unfortunately things are not going as planned. So definitely there is uncertainty, right? For example, in the beginning we discussed about the 12th board, right? It's so unfair for them, or Drishti pointed out that they've been working and since a year, and towards the end it just gets cancelled. So definitely it is unfair, but so you should not attach yourself to this, right? This is something, it might happen, it might not happen. So right now just be focused on your mental health, and whatever you feel that you're doing, just keep on, you feel that you can do, right? Any competitive exam, just work towards it, just work towards the goal, right? And keep your mental health in check. That's all you can do right now, right? Overthinking and anxiety and things that are out of your control, thinking about that, it's not going to help you at all.
Yes, absolutely. Drishti, ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
Talking about competitive exams, since I'm associated with the competitive exams firm, I'll just like to highlight that approx 98% of the population, they believe that they have broken down mentally because the government issues some directives that the exam will be postponed, and they just feel कि मैम हम तैयारी कर रहे हैं, कब exam आएगा, we don't know. But the solution to this problem, my dear students, is that exam chahe kabhi bhi aaye. I just highlighted in some questions initially that change is inevitable. This is what the pandemic has taught us. So you have to get ready. You have to be prepared. So for being prepared, I believe you have to keep consistently working hard. So don't break down mentally that we don't know when the exam will be. You should have to be prepared impromptu. So for that, I believe you have to work hard consistently.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. I hope Devanshi has got the answer she was searching for. Can we have the next question, please? It's from Nakul Malik. His question is: how can the youth help the needy section of students? Drishti, ma'am, would you like to answer?
Uh, Talking about the needy section of the students, we can also say that there have been certain individuals who have supported a lot of people, a lot of sections in the weaker society during this pandemic. So the youth, as an individually, if we talk about certain sectors, so the youth can take a toll, or they can come in the forefront with certain strategies that I just highlighted earlier. Also, that some things can be done by the youth. They can come forward. They can get some platforms like. Just to educate, not just teaching them or doing something, but just for activity, so that that section of the society is also catered to.
Yes, absolutely. Ayushi, ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
So, adding on to that, just something, a little something that you can do is that all of us have helps, right? It can be form of any help, right, around the household. So, one thing that we can do is that some of them might not be technically equipped, right? Firstly, providing digital infrastructure, right? Probably a mobile phone, or a mobile which has internet facility, or maybe getting their recharge done, is the least that you can do. Adding on to that, a few things that you can do is probably take their classes. By classes, I do not mean that the child again has to sit, and I do not mean to reinforce that idea, right? By help, I mean that you can just ask them that what they've been taught in this entire week, and in case they need any help. Unfortunately, some of them at because as we discussed, education is not the priority. Some of them do not even have books, right? So if you're not able to give time, financially you can help them out by providing them certain things, and uh, few things like that. And one
Resources.
definite, yes, yes, exactly, resources, right? It can be infrastructural, it can be it can be teaching them, right? It just can be what Drishti said, that it's personality development. Do not teach them any subject. It's not just, life is not, life cannot be summed up by by curriculum and by textbooks, right? Just personality development, or maybe reading a newspaper, or something. Or so one thing that me and my parents are doing at home is that we had a few girls, right, who just passed 10th. So some of them have taken science, and I am not equipped to teach science for 11th and 12th. Neither are my parents. So what we have been doing is that every alternate day, we have been taking their English speaking classes. So what we do is that, unfortunately, their internet, even though they stay in Delhi, right, they just stay 5 minutes away from my home, but the internet is not very great, and despite the recharges, the whole family is using it, X number of issues. So they record their own conversation. So we have told them that every day you have a conversation, two friends, right? You have a conversation with anybody. Talk to in English, and record that conversation and send it to us. So they've been doing that, right? And it's been like 2 3 weeks. Nothing has changed, but at least they're making an effort of learning how to speak English, right?
Yes,
So that is something that is, it is barely taking 15 minutes from my 24 hours, right? It's better than watching Netflix. And adding on to what Mohini and some other 2 3 questions, this is something that can really give you mental peace, helping others in this time. So
yes.
this is something that you should, the audience can try.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Very well said that helping the people who are in your neighborhood should be the first priority. If you cannot reach somebody, at a distance, you can always have the person who is around you. Very beautifully said, ma'am. And youth being most active and being strong, and they know what to do right now. I think this is something that they need to focus, especially in this situation. Absolutely, ma'am. Can we have the next question, please? There's a question from Pratik Anand. What do you think about the decision of cancellation of board exams of 12th class 12 a few hours back? Has the pandemic ruined our education system? Ayushi ma'am, would you like to answer it first?
So in my suggestion, so the pandemic has not ruined it. It is just, all the loopholes are on a float now, right? All the loopholes in the system are can be seen, right? So having exams at the age of 18, I mean, it's not happening. Definitely what Drishti pointed out, assessment of any kind is very important to understand where you stand and where you're at, right? And how much do you need to work. But examination is not something that you should associate your life with, right? I understand that it's very unfair, but it's all right. I mean, you guys are the first batch without 12th boards. I mean, see the brighter side of things, right? You've worked hard. The time that has gone, you cannot get it back. So maybe this is a lesson for the Indian system, right? That things can look bright, right? The grass is greener on the other side. Even without 12th board examination, people will be okay, right? You'll all definitely get into good colleges and have a good life.
Yes,
right? So this is
absolutely.
again my personal opinion. It might vary.
Yes. Drishti ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
What Ayushi ma'am just said, I agree to what she said, and I'll just like to add certain things onto it. Pratik, the education system has not been ruined by the pandemic. Okay, see, to cope up with us with such a big, huge population, we need to take care of the health issues also. And you, as you know, that in such unprecedented times, we cannot outlook the health of the students. And also I'd like to highlight that, like ma'am said, that examinations don't decide your future. Right. So you have to be prepared. That's what I initially in my certain answers also I have highlighted, that you have to be prepared.
Yes,
And secondly,
absolutely.
I'll also add that maybe the examinations, 12th board examinations have cancelled, but then there will be some point, there will be some kind of assessment for you to, compete towards the university level. So
Yes.
don't think that the education system has been brought down. No, it has not. We are still strong. You just have to see it on the greener side. You just have to consider yourself that no, it's not, nothing is spoiled. You still have to stand still, and you have to keep going.
Yes, yes, absolutely, ma'am. Talking about the examinations, even I had to give the board examination, and at that moment, even I wish that maybe if I could have been just you know gone through this
Exempted.
entire thing. Yes, if I could have been exempted for that. So it's like whatever we get, we are never satisfied. So if you
Exactly.
are not having your board's examination, you're not
See,
satisfied, and
let me.
yes, and even if you
I
have
think
it, you are still.
most of the students will have quite a contrary opinion. Most of them will be satisfied. There are only
Absolutely,
going to
ma'am.
be
They will
two,
have.
3%.
Yes, absolutely,
Yes,
ma'am.
most of them, 95% must be celebrating right now कि चलो ठीक है हो गया अच्छी बात है. No, one thing is not going to define us for our lives, right? It does not. Well, I mean, that is something that our parents used to tell us. But I think Drishti will agree with me that at this stage, when all of us are around 25 or some 25 and above, right? Nobody asked me कि आपके बोर्ड में कितने नंबर आए थे. आप पहले हमें ये बताइए आपके बोर्ड पे
Absolutely.
कितने नंबर आए थे.
Absolutely.
Nobody.
See, the education system is such that, in school times we were asked to score such good grades. But then I would like to suggest everybody that yes, you have to study for good grades, but then these grades don't define you. What defines is your personality, how you carry yourself, your character, what knowledge you have gained. Now, there is a big difference between knowledgeable and being educated. So, know the difference
Definitely.
first.
Yes, absolutely agreed, ma'am. Completely agreed. Thank you, Pratik, for the question. I hope that now we'll see on the greener and the brighter side. Can we have the next question, please? The next question is from Sarah Ghosh. Her question is: education is not just about academics, but also sports, interpersonal interactions, and so much more. How do you think COVID has impacted this aspect? Ayushi ma'am, would you like to enlighten her question like on this part?
So, like we discussed, education is definitely not just about classes, right? It's about much more. Definitely. So, we have been getting a lot of questions since the past 15 minutes about mental health. So that is one thing that has been is getting affected on the education front, right? Not being able to meet your friends, and being in college for 3 years or being in school is to is an other experience, something that you have to go through. It cannot be explained in words, right? Whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, every experience is an experience, right? So this is something that I feel very bad. What me and Drishti we already pointed out our views, that we are personally feeling very bad for all the everybody, including Anjali, right, and including the whole team of empowered people, right? They all of them are such bright and brilliant students, but unfortunately, because of the circumstances, they're not able to go and go to college and experience all these amazing things that we both were fortunate enough to experience.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Drishti ma'am, would you like to add something?
Absolutely, what Ayushi ma'am just said, that we were fortunate that we could, be a part of the socio clubs and the eco clubs and organize such events. But then I would also say, take it on a positive note, guys. Why do you want to feel low? See, organizing events. If I talk about the primary sector, so I have seen my nephew. Uh, Taking his games class on the screen. I mean, imagine that if he can take a games class on the screen, then so can you. Come on, you can do hit workouts, or you can do some trainings, or whatever you feel like. So I believe ठीक है, कोविड ने थोड़ी चीजें हल्की खराब की हैं, but then don't let it hit you.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Even us right now, be it sports or be it anything which is physically related, like we have all these extra classes or the free periods, the PE, the dance, everything has been done on the laptop, or
Online.
now yes, online. The laptop is our best friend now. The phones are our best friend now. We are virtually meeting our friends, and yes, pandemic has affected it, but I believe that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice right now to do anything out of that. So I guess we have to make the best of what we have right now. With that, ma'am, let's move to the next question. Can we have the next question, please? The next question is by Harsh Saini. What do you say about the problem of students who don't have the same access to the technology and equipment necessary for online education, like internet issues, proper devices, etc.? Drishti ma'am, would you like to? Uh,
Hi Harsh. I guess initially we've just answered one of the such type questions. I guess where the youth had to play a role, right? We have to look for certain strategies. We have to look for certain platforms. We can take it to the community now. See, individually we are helpless. We cannot get out of the house to help anybody. But then financially, like Ayushi ma'am highlighted, like financially everybody has helps at their places, right? So if you talk about internet issue, proper devices, so one example I'd like to give, like the help at my place, she could not register for the COVID vaccine. She was not aware. Actually, she just denied that I will not get vaccinated. The reason being, she said that मैम इसको लगाने से मर भी सकते हैं. So educating her कि ऐसा नहीं है, to getting her agreed for vaccinating, to getting her registered. So that's how you have to take your steps. So I believe internet issues, proper devices, the youth or individually you yourself can take a toll and come forward and help them, because
yes.
as a whole, as a community get together, we cannot go, right? So let's start with oneself first.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely agreed, ma'am. Ayushi ma'am, would you like to add something?
So what Drishti said, simply covers up most of the things. So one more thing that I would want to add, that um, getting an accurate number on people who are out of school right now, or people who are learning in the pandemic, right? So right now we belong to a fortunate society where you and I have everything, but Harsh, correctly points out that there are a lot of people who do not. One more thing that, one more divide is that people who have, right, they are also not learning. Right, so the focus should be more should be more towards, this is again my personal opinion, right, it might vary. The focus should be more on helping people who have access to learn, right? That is something that can be focused upon. And then as a community, all of us can hold weekly, now that the pandemic situation is dying out a little bit, we can.
I think there's some internet issues with Ayushi ma'am. Let's move to the next question while ma'am would be fixing her internet. We'll have the last question now. Uh, yes, the next question is from Vanshika Goswami. Do you think online examination is able to evaluate a student's knowledge properly? Drishti ma'am?
Well, Vanshika Goswami, that's a good question. On the part of a teacher, I'd like to say that examinations evaluated on a virtual screen, you cannot totally depend on that, because mostly what happens is the students actually, I'll talk about my brother. He's in the third year, he's doing his final graduation, so they don't have books. How do you expect them to give examinations? So you cannot totally depend on what you see on the screen, or whatever evaluation you get on the screen. So I believe, you know the teachers actually know their students well enough. They know where each individual stands.
Absolutely, ma'am. Completely agreed, ma'am, that it is upon the
and
individual where.
and also, each individual knows what he is doing. If your conscience allows cheating, then you're not cheating the teacher, dear, you're cheating your own self. So that's what the logic the teachers apply, that we don't feel bad. Yes, of course, the discipline is a bit disturbed, but then if I say that, totally depending on the online examinations evaluation, then no, we don't totally depend on that. But yes, it does hold some importance. What matters is your knowledge, what matters is your consistency. So I hope, Vanshika, you were able to I was able to justify to what your question says.
Absolutely, ma'am. We'll take another question while Ayushi ma'am joins us back. Can we have the next question, Nakul? Okay, ma'am. So the next question is teacher-student ratio is already an issue faced by the Indian education sector. Do you think the burden on teachers has increased during online classes era?
All right, so today I'm going to bring you to the side of the teacher. uh, you might have heard of collaborative teamwork. In the same way, the teachers also work in team, they also work collaboratively, right? So having situation like teaching a student, suppose if I'm going to school, if I'm teaching in college, Ayushi ma'am will also agree to this, that if I'm going to a classroom, so I would just be available for that certain 40 students in my class. But on the screen virtually, I am able to cater to 100, not just the students who are available here in India or in my region, but worldwide. So it's a positive aspect that COVID-19 outbreak has brought in the education system. So we were able to get more focus on collaborative teamwork and the teachers' teamwork actually.
Absolutely, ma'am. We have Ayushi ma'am back joined in here. Ma'am, the
So yes,
question is yes. So sorry
we
for
were talking
the.
about internet. No, so it was my internet.
Yes,
We were talking about internet
yes.
connectivity, and my just the light went off for like 2 minutes, and the internet
Mhm.
went out.
No
So
problem, ma'am. We can continue from this question as well. It's lovely to have you back now. The question is teacher-student ratio is already an issue faced by Indian education sector. Do you think the burden on teacher has increased during the online classes era?
it definitely has, right? Like what Drishti pointed out, that we need to be more prepared. We need to, the class needs to be much more engaging visually as well as mentally, right? So one thing that has been, has it's been good is that people, um, so initially the classes were very traditional, right? Like face to face. The teacher used to write on the board and the kids used to just copy it, or have some sort of a discussion. But right now, because of the shift, the teachers have definitely be burdened, but in a good way as well, right? Again, it's all about your perception. Initially, I understand that for all of us, right? For me also, it was a struggle to get a hang of, अरे ये कैसे होगा, ऐसे कैसे होता है, right? And I'm, to be very honest, it's been a year, and I've still not 100% equipped or how to go about it. I cannot explain somebody how I'm doing what I'm doing right now, right? But one thing is that it's made me more technology friendly, and I can put out more webinars and more lectures, and I can make the class more interactive, by showing videos and XYZ things, right? So the child is able to relate more instead of having a face-to-face discussion, right? The child is able to relate more to what is being doing in the class because of the virtual resources that have been used, right? So this is something that has it's a good and a bad journey, all both of them.
Absolutely. Completely agreed, ma'am. We are done with the questions. And yes, Rishi, ma'am, of course.
But then Ayushi ma'am, I like to highlight that for a teacher, every day is a new challenge. We get a challenge every day in a classroom. So in the same way, in the virtual classroom, also we face every day with a new challenge.
Definitely, definitely. But so again, it totally depends upon the students that you're catering, right? With with the higher education students, right? The creativity needs to be more, but in the content needs to be different. But I'm sure that the primary teachers are facing much more difficulty because like we discussed, attaining their concentration and holding their concentration for the toddlers is a very tough thing. And so again, it depends upon the students that you're catering to.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ayushi ma'am. Thank you so much, Drishti ma'am. We are done with the questions. There are a lot of comments. When you watch this session again on YouTube, you'll see there are a lot of comments. People are quite appreciating and they're happy with the entire session. So, firstly, thank you so much for actually enlightening and being so enthusiastic about this entire webinar. Now we would come to the concluding remarks, ma'am. One by one, what would your message be for the youth, or what would be your message as a solution for the youth, so that we do not, like, a lot of questions were about the mental stress and the physical activities. So yes, Ayushi ma'am, what would your message be for the youth?
So eat right, eat healthy, exercise, and help others, right? That is going to give you a really good peace of mind. Trust me, I've been doing it since the past 2-3 months. Helping others is the most wonderful thing, and overthinking is not going to help, right? All of us have this tendency: anxiety, overthinking. Jo hoga hoga, right? So just relax, take a deep breath. You are healthy, your family is healthy. That is all that matters right now, right?
Yes. Thank you so much, Ayushi ma'am. Drishti ma'am, what would you like to?
Absolutely. So just to get to the conclusion of the entire, there's a lot of disturbance. Just give me a second. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
the COVID-19 outbreak has taught everybody. So it has actually taught you that don't let anything bring a full stop to your life, be it learning, be it mental health, be it emotional health, be it working out physically. I have worked with every sector of education, be it the counseling team, be it the coordinating team, be it the teaching team, the curriculum management, the curriculum planning. So taking a toll on everything, I just have one thing to say, that the COVID-19 outbreak has definitely taught you so many things. See, like the two sides of the coin, like we have pros and cons of everything, but then let's consider the pros. It has brought you to blended learning. So eat healthy, just like Ayushi ma'am said, eat healthy, sleep अच्छे से so, but then also take good care of yourself, because that is the need of the hour. And also, don't let your education come to a standstill. Please keep going. Study, chahe study in bits, but then do study. Don't let it hamper your growth. So that's it.
Yes.
And also, I would like to congratulate Empower People team and Team Astitva community for holding such a great conversation and webinar, and introducing Ayushi ma'am to me. So thank you so much, and I wish all the best to the entire team.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a very sweet and lovely message. Ayushi, ma'am, would you like to say something?
Just this is a great initiative by being done by all of you, right? It happens every day at 8 o'clock, right? So good. I'm proud of all of you, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the comments and for all the questions. We will, we are all in this together, and we will get through it, right?
Yes.
So yes. So right now, just stay healthy and be safe, and yeah, that's all.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. We are in this together. We will, help each other. We need to help each other because at this point, at this moment in our lives, it is important that we are there for each other, most importantly. And while talking about that, Empower People is right now providing all the COVID essentials and resources. The Twitter link is right below the screen. So they tweet all the verified leads. So if you go to the Twitter account of Empower People, that is at the rate Empower People in, you will get all the immediate responses, and the if you have any emergency, you will find the resources there. So we are live, like Aish ma'am said. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are live every day at 8 p.m. with a new webinar topic, so that we actually can make a difference in somebody's life, if not everybody, because the important part is to motivate people, to inspire people, especially the youth, and help our immediate neighbor. And at this point of time, I am thankful to everyone who was watching this live session, for being patient, for being calm, for being so actively present in the entire webinar. And thank you so much, Drishti ma'am and Ayushi ma'am, for being here today, taking time for this entire session. We are happy to have you here. Thank you so much once again. And
Thank you, Anjali.
yes, and with that, I would like to end the webinar and this session for today. It was an amazing session. I hope that our viewers have enjoyed this as much as I have been, and we are much more educated, and we know about this entire concept of education. We know about it now, and thank you so much, Aishi ma'am and Drishti ma'am, for it. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Drishti. Thank you, Anjali.